Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Stevenson. I'm the Executive Director of the German Film Office, a new initiative of the Goethe Institute and German Films based in New York. Thanks for joining this Q&A about the film Sleep with director Michael Venus, actress Gro Swantje Kohlhof, and film programmer Alissa Simon. Sleep is part of the film program Kino Germany Now that the German Film Office just launched in January and is offering to theaters across the US through July. We're really pleased that Sleep is going to have its US virtual premiere at Northwestern Film Forum in Seattle, with screenings in other locations to follow. Let me introduce to you Michael Venus. Michael obtained a degree in visual communication from the Bauhaus University in Weimar. He then worked as a producer at the children's TV channel Kika and studied directing at the Hamburg Media School. His graduation short film Röntgen from 2008 won multiple awards. Sleep is Michael's feature directing debut. Gro Swantje Kohlhof is an actress known for her roles in the TV crime show Tatort and in feature films including We Are the Tide and the zombie flick Ever After. She studied acting at the Berlin University of the Arts and has been a member of the Münchner Kammerspiele Theater Ensemble since 2016. Alissa Simon curated the film selection for Kino Germany Now. She is a festival programmer and a film critic for Variety. Thank you, Alissa, Gro, and Michael.
Michael, Sleep is really an impressive debut film. What inspired you and your co-writer, Thomas Friedrich, to come up with this story, this weird combo of history, psychological thriller, and splash of Heimatfilm?
Yeah, it was kind of organic. So as we started writing, we just, we didn't have a horror topic on our desk. We started with thinking about things that are confronting us. We wanted to to tell a story about things that are confronting us. And so we talked a lot about the topic of patriarchy and how it infects our subconsciousness, our behavior, and our society. And sometimes it's kind of a horrific issue, which you don't see. It's like a ghost around and inside of us, like a demon in our male being. And the other thing was, the other fundament of our storytelling is that Thomas and I, we studied at the Bauhaus University in Weimar. That's where Goethe come from, and wrote the Faust drama, and Weimar is a small town in Germany, which is very important for German history. You have all that rooted classic philosophy and literature here around. And you have the Bauhaus was founded in Weimar, and you have the first democratic republic of Germany was manifested in Weimar. You may know that term from Weimar cinema. It all has a couple of things around our time here in Weimar, where I'm living now, and it all is in the shadow of Buchenwald, the concentration camp. So you have all the beauty and all the big, beautiful things to see the world, and you have that concentration camp, and the big shadow of the concentration camp is in fact that town as well, and that's a symbol for our society, and it forces a very special kind of thinking about things and about storytelling. What's behind the surface always.
Well, it's like Faulkner said, the past is never dead. It's not even past.
Yeah, you can, yeah. And after thinking about the patriarchy as well, which is kind of a thing which is implemented in fascism too, in my opinion. We have a growing topic. When we started, it was a small topic, but it's now growing about how the subconsciousness of our generation is infected by the war child, the war generation, and kind of psychological thinking about how can we write a drama. And then our producer, Verena Greffe-Höft, came from I guess from a festival in Sweden, and she has seen some art house horror films, and was very enthusiastic about that, because that combination in that time wasn't quite common. And she asked us, do you want to make a horror film? And that gave us the link to telling the story in the way we got it now. Mm-hmm. Because horror is always, it isn't a way to make a cinema of escapism. It's a way to make a cinema of confrontation. It's very offensive, and it always goes deep in your inner. It's always connected to your inner view. Can you tell that? I don't know. And so we came from that point to the topic of dreaming, because since I was a child, watching films is very similar to dreaming, in my opinion. I've got a feeling that has something to do with dreaming. And before I, and Jean Cocteau, for instance, found some words to describe that when he said, film is a sleep in which I'm dreaming. And but it goes deeper. So we talked a lot about what is horror, what is fictional horror, and so we found out that we are infected by fictional horror since our maybe since I was that little child baptized in a Lutheran church, and had a view on a tortured naked guy on a cross. And then came the Grimm's fairy tales, which are very, very cruel sometimes. And after that, when I started to develop an interest in films, they came the serialists, they came the Russian fairy tales, German fairy tales. There's for instance, a very unique East German film, which was the first colored film after the World War II. It's from 1950. It's called The Cold Heart. It's a fairy tale for adults, and that infected me and shocked me and followed me into my dreams for months and years. When I was a child. And so there was that collage of experiences and inspirations that came together to find our film language, which is in fact a dream language. And the other thing is Thomas Friedrich is grown up in a small village on the western side of the border. I was born in East Germany. He was born in Western Germany. And in that village, there was that huge hotel complex, which was kind of after a couple of years, it went to get a lost place because it was megalomanian object. It was a megalomaniac object. And so we found that hotel integrated that experience of his childhood to find a stage for or a symbol for megalomanian thinking. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, earlier I talked about how the wounds of the past infects our consciousness, is that, but when you step into a hotel, you come to a hotel with your story, and when you go off from the hotel, there's someone who cleans up the room. And the next one who steps in the room you were for a couple of days or a couple of hours, the room is cleaned up. There's a new soap, and it's like nothing happens. And that was a symbol for us. And so all the roots and elements that came together to create our story, our drama.
When I was in graduate school, we had a seminar on horror film and the return of the repressed, and the repressed definitely returns in sleep. For someone as young as she is, Gro has a relatively long career and many prizes for her performances on film, in television, and on stage. Did she catch your eye after her German zombie film, Ever After?
No, we met before they started casting.
My thing went out. What happened? You met after?
No, we met each other long before they started casting Project Zombie. Mm-hmm. So, and I've seen her in another Hüller film production who produced our film too. It was Nothing That Can Happen, and
that's a creepy psychological horror too, in a way.
Yeah, by Katrin Gebbe. She's a comrade from film school and a great colleague too. And Gro was 70 years old in that time, in those days. Yeah, and it was remarkable. I was so impressed, and so we found her together with Sandra Hüller before we started casting, years before we had a shooting part. So,
Gro, what attracted you to the part?
What I liked about it from the beginning, because as you said, Micha, I was kind of involved years before we even started to shoot. So I saw so many different versions of the script, and I also saw like the huge development that the characters took. Like the first version of Mona that I read wasn't the version that we ended up shooting, but it was always going somewhere that I really liked. And what I liked about it was that in German cinema, German cinema is often very strict about genre. Like it has to be one thing. It has to be a rom-com, or it has to be a drama or a historical drama. And then the plot and the characters have to follow the rules of that genre. And I really, really liked about the script that it wasn't playing by the rules of one genre. It rather just took what it needed to convey its point or its perspective from different kind of pots. And I really, really enjoyed that, reading the script, and it also offers so many more opportunities for you when it comes to portraying a character, because it leads you to a much wider field. So that's what I liked about it from the beginning.
Biggest challenges for you, like having to act against a special effects boar, or what were some of the challenges in the film? You really get beaten up and tied up and tossed around.
Yeah, that's all happening, but I think the biggest challenge was to get the storyline in my head, because we weren't shooting that chronologically. And then there's also is it a dream reality? Is it happening in real life? Is it a real dream, or is it a dream within the dream? And then I was going back and forth between our shooting location and Munich, where I played the theater. So I was just driving through the night. I would play a show in Munich, and then somebody would pick me up. We would drive through the night and then start shooting at 7 a.m. So for me, the main challenge was to know where I am and know in which layer of the story I'm supposed to be at that moment, and then let go of all that and just concentrate to do the scene that's there on that day.
Well, all those layers are there, and it's interesting for the viewer too, because you're not quite sure where you are in the story, and that's what makes it so interesting too. Michael, can you talk a little bit about the rest of your cast, who really are top-notch performers? I saw that you had Sandra Hüller in your 2 short films, which also have a psychological horror bent. For the others, was it the first time they play in a genre film?
We had a casting period over 2 years. I told Sandra and Gro were casted before we started casting, because that pair is so I don't know. I don't want to make too much compliments, but it was a match out of heaven. And the other ones we had a lot of casting sessions, and they went on to be very long casting sessions, because I don't start with the switching on the casting video camera and say, okay, go ahead, just do whatever you want. I always want to get in touch with the person behind the actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I always started with up to 1 hour interviews, just to get a picture of the real person behind the job, and so it was different. So we had Agata Busek. She's kind of a star in Poland, and we talked in Berlin. We didn't cast. We didn't cast her too, because we just had a 4-hour talk about our life.
Uh-huh.
So, and I knew she's very, very good, and so we didn't have to make it. But the other one were very not so easy to puzzle, and how do we get the picture of a family, fitting perfect picture of a family, and I wanted to have kind of different energies, but it wouldn't work if the kind of acting style doesn't fit. So kind of how do you do your job? And I knew it would be a very hard shooting. It's not an easygoing thing, and so it was very important for me to know, are we good with each other before we start working.
How did you explain to them the tone that you wanted in the film? What sort of things did you say about describing the tone?
It's organic too. So most of the days the tone was very. I wanted to have it very naturally. So it's a hypernatural film. But if you take Agata Busek in her ghostish demon role, so I knew the situation is very demonic. So but she doesn't have to play that. She doesn't have to play a demon. She's one of the most natural acting or behaving figures in that film. Or August Schmelzer, who plays the big villain Otto. He has that kind of flashy and very welcoming glamour in his Erscheinung, in his
appearance,
and so we had I had different talks to find that tone with the different roles. So it's and the other thing is the atmosphere on the place, the location. The location did a lot to us, not only for the script. So we had a big rewrite after we found that location, because the location was like a main character, and it made something with us and the actors and actresses, like how they move through the Kafkaesque hotel, and it is had a big influence on the acting, on the tone too. So in that hotel, you don't move like in a cute and cozy motel, for instance. So you have to take the room, or if it's a big room, or you have to find your way out in a very small room. So I don't know. There's no receipt. It's just a lot of conversation, very organic. And I think every actor and every actress is kind of a writer on the script too. So, for instance, Gro, so we erased a lot of lines because we found out rehearsing with the dialogue that we made it all the time. We made it smaller and smaller and smaller, and sometimes they're left just, I don't know, as if, or just a sight, nothing.
Well, her physical performance and her expressions are so good, you don't really need dialogue. Yeah. What was it like, Gro, walking in that creepy woods near the hotel and seeing.
But our continuity guy used to make fun of me because Mona is kind of the main character and we see the movie through her eyes. But everyone had to, like, especially August had to do like long monologues of explaining, and this is going on. And then he talks for like 3 pages, and then it's just Mona going, yes. The whole crew would like, yeah, well, that's an easy part for you. You're still the main character, but you don't have to learn any lines and you just need to react. That was a good thing for me.
Since you didn't shoot chronologically, did you have a lot of rehearsals where you went through the whole story so they would know, or were the actors sort of surprised too at the different layers?
Is it a question for me, or is it?
Yeah, I guess that's for you, really.
All right. Not enough. I really love rehearsals, but I also love to get in a direct resonance with the location. So, and that it's good to make rehearsals to get safe with, I don't know, to create the first ideas of how to direct the performance. But the most important rehearsals always were before on set rehearsals. But we had rehearsals quite. Yeah, we made a lot of improvisation with Gro and Sandra, and we had, like in the lockdown days, we had a lot of Skype calls, and I had days and hours with Gro talking about every scene, a lot. So
you had your world premiere at the 2020 Berlinale, and that was actually the last major film festival before COVID became widespread.
Luckily,
and Sleep went on to the creme de la creme of fantasy fests. How has it been to interact with a virtual audience?
Yeah, it makes a huge difference if you have a camera on the audience. So you have kind of a contact to the audience, and because it is my first feature, and so I was since I guess May or June when we had our first festival invitations. Yeah, it's all I know. It was all kind of dialogue through a little camera, and I missed the resonance. And I had that one festival where I was in person, and it was in Zurich, Zurich Film Festival, and it was very restricted. Only, I don't know, 30 people in the room, and I was so hit by that. I was hit by that experience. I was very close to tears to see that real people in the audience and talk to them, and everything's better because you are in a direct resonance with the people.
Because I was thinking about that. It's nice that those festivals were able to show you by camera the audience reaction, because that's what I really miss about being a programmer and doing Q&As is when you watch the film with the audience, or you come in just at the end, you feel like physically feel what they're going through and how excited they are and how much they liked it. So it must be hard, I thought, for a filmmaker to have this.
I don't want to cry about that because it's a thing that we have to make it that way, and I'm happy that it still works in a way. But yeah, as you may know, the best Q&A moments are after the Q&A, and that doesn't happen too. So
yeah, that's true.
So the personal communication, the real affection.
Gro, what are the next projects coming up for you?
Well, I'm still in Munich working at the theater, which is...
Are you able to be on stage at this time, or you're just rehearsing and things?
We're rehearsing and then we don't play a show, which is really weird. You have like a lot of tension building up and then no way to release that.
Yeah.
So everyone, I don't know, it's just a very strange time. Everyone feels very tense. but we're trying to keep on rehearsing. So maybe, hopefully soon we can play our shows again. And then at the meantime, we also try to do something in the internet. Right now I'm working on an online play thing with a colleague of mine, because I don't know, everyone feels the urge to do something, like just something, because standing still and not moving is just doesn't feel right. So this is where I'm at right now, and I just really hope that soon enough we can see audience again, touch each other on stage again, smell each other. I don't know. That's just, yeah.
Do you have some film and TV parts coming up?
Not as right now. I mean, it's always a bit hard to combine being a fixed ensemble member at the theater and having a film career. I got lucky that most of the time, like once a year, I can do something, but also like doing sleep and being at the theater was a huge challenge for everyone, just organizing all the plane tickets and when I'm going to be where. So that's always a bit of a balancing act.
And what about you, Michael? What's next? Are you writing right now, or?
Yeah, I'm writing. So I can't tell. So,
you can't tell what you're going to do next?
Because I'm writing with a co-author, and she's in the room.
Oh, okay.
And but it's so and we created a story, but we are now in Verhandlung. What is it? The word? Sorry.
What? I got it. What? Verhandlung.
I'm sorry.
Negotiations.
All right.
Yeah, with different parties, with different production companies, and I hope that will happen. It would be very great, and it's a great fun to write with Gro. Thomas Friedrich is writing a thriller, and I'm make a rewrite next month with my co-author Karen Köhler. We have a drama, which is kind of a road movie playing in the United States, which was paused. First time it was paused because of sleep, and second time because of COVID-19. And now we got back on track with the project. We'll see.
Is this the Cowboys and Indians, or that was something else?
Yes. It's a working title. Yeah.
Well, I saw also, before I let you go, I saw that you had done some 3-hour filming of a theater project, and I looked at the trailer for it, and that just looks crazy. What was all that about? Is it the name of that Icelandic volcano?
Eyjafjallajökull Tam was
That's you.
Yeah, and it's actually it's kind of my first feature film. I had a co-director, and it was Leniger, and it was 3.5 hours, and it was for another Munich theater, for the Residenztheater, and the chief of the director of the theater wanted to have every ensemble member of the theater in one film. And so we had a script. It's a play written for that, and we made a screenplay out of it and shooted it during a year. And it was pure madness, but I liked it. It worked.
Is there a way for people to see that online with subtitles?
No, I don't think so. So it was a huge project and multimedia project back in the days when it was realized. But it was for the internet and for the theater. So maybe, I don't know, no subtitles project, but it was great.
Yeah, even without subtitles, the trailer was amazing.
I learned a lot during that time.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to talk to me, and I wish that you could have talked to the audience in person, but
Oh yeah.
we'll hope soon in the future.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But thanks for having us. It's a great.
You're welcome. Best of luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you.